Welcome to this Valentine's Day edition of the TUE Brew Review. Because it is Valentine's Day, I thought we would check out not one, but two beers. We'd present these beers as a couple because I think they would go well in tandem. First of all, we've got Bell's Whiskey Barrel Aged Cherry Stout, and we are going to be coupling that with Lakefront Brewery's Cacao Dark Chocolate Imperial Stout. So let's start off with this Bell's brewing product. Comes in a 12-ounce brown bottle, cherry stout aged in whiskey barrels. Kind of interesting here. It's got the independent craft brewer logo. This beer was actually bottled in 2017. This is one of my vintage beers that I pulled. Bell's is no longer a independently owned craft brewer. Larry Bell retired, I believe, at the end of 2021 and sold to the international beverage conglomerate Kirin out of Japan. And Godspeed, Larry, good for you. I like how it says shelf life unlimited, so it is something that can cellar and develop over time, and it is 9.3% ABV. So let's go ahead and crack this guy open. Okay, yes, the really the dark brown, almost black color, but you are getting that cherry hue in the color, so kind of like a dark chocolate with just a little bit of a cherry hue in the color. And as anticipated, the head retention on this is probably not going to be much, but it's even lesser because this beer has been cellared for a period of years, so they tend to not have much in the way of head retention. Oh yeah, getting a huge blast of the cherry, but even more so the dark chocolate is really coming through on this one. And getting some nice vanilla notes, and getting a little bit of that whiskey aromatic as well. So lots of fun aromatics. Cheers. So I get that sweet cherry up front, but then I get the chocolate grainy bite, and actually it's got still a fairly prevalent hop bite to it. Usually beers that are cellared for a while, the hop bite tends to lessen, but it's still got a decent amount of bite there in the finish. Nice, it's full-bodied, but it's also kind of slick on the palate. Am getting a little bit of the heat of the alcohol, a little bit of a prickly heat on the back of the palate too. And again, the carbonation is very slight. And the chocolate, like a dark chocolate covered cherry essence on the back end of this as well. That flavor is really lingering. So yeah, absolutely delicious beer. So let's go ahead and pivot to this guy. So this is Lakefront's Dark Chocolate Imperial Stout. Also comes in this 12-ounce brown bottle. This has also been cellar aged. This was actually bottled in September of 2019. I like how they've got what they call cellar certified. I don't think I've seen that before, but it is a demarcation that this is appropriate for cellaring. It's 9.8% ABV, so it's a little bit stronger. And this is actually been aged in a bourbon barrel. So all bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon. And let's go ahead and crack into this guy. All right, so once again, we got that really dark, even it's actually a little bit darker. I don't really get much of that cherry hue that I got in the Bell's Cherry Stout. This is kind of a very, very deep brown, almost blackish color. And once again, because of the aging of the beer, not getting much of a head retention at all, which is to be expected. Okay, this one, ooh, definitely getting more of the chocolate, boy, almost like Hershey's chocolate syrup smell. Also definitely getting the bourbon, the booziness, the vanilla is coming through big time. Boy, also getting a little bit of like a dark bread, like a pumpernickel aroma too. Cheers. So this one, I'd call this semi-sweet to dark chocolate flavors, really profound chocolate. And of course, in this one, they mentioned that it's cacao, which is the more minimally processed cocoa powder. There's cocoa and there's cacao from my limited knowledge of these chocolate powders. But my understanding is cacao powder, minimally processed. It actually has more of that cocoa bite to it, and it's actually got a better nutritional value as well. So most health nuts like to use cacao instead of cocoa. So, but yeah, the flavors in this, intense chocolate flavored, big malt character. And I'm definitely getting the barrel flavor, like that charred wood that you often get it in some bourbons. That's definitely in this beer. So it's got a nice bourbon character kind of resting in the background, lurking. But the chocolate is the main player on this. Actually, this has a pretty good amount of carbonation, really sticky mouthfeel, as it should have. And I can definitely get the warming sensation of the alcohol, and it's actually going down quite smoothly. So last but not least, let's put a little bit of the Lakefront Cacao Dark Chocolate into the bells. See what we get here. Cheers. So yes, I'm still getting the cherry and the dark fruit aromatics from the Bell's Cherry Stout. Not really getting too much more of the chocolate. The cherry tends to dominate the aromatics still. But yeah, just by adding a little bit more of that Lakefront dark chocolate Imperial Stout, it really opened up the chocolate in this one. The cherry has definitely taken a backseat in terms of the flavor to the to the profound amount of chocolate that just adding a little bit of that Lakefront beer has added to this mix. Still full-bodied, getting the warming alcohol sensation. But yeah, this is going down very smooth and very delightful. So whether you combine them into one beverage or whether you drink them separately, this has been a fun treat. So this Valentine's Day, instead of flowers or chocolate or intimate apparel or fancy dinners, I'd say you pivot towards giving your sweetheart the gift of beer. Happy Valentine's Day. The real love language, beer. Cheers.